In the autumn of 1929, America's roaring confidence suddenly snapped. The stock market didn't just crash, it collapsed like a building made of glass. Numbers fell, but behind those numbers were people. Dreams evaporated, families broke apart, and futures turned to dust overnight. Banks failed, factories went silent, millions wandered the streets searching for work, children slept hungry, hope dimmed, and fear ruled the nation. This era would be remembered as the Great Depression, the harshest economic storm the modern world had ever faced. And in the middle of that darkness, on August 30th, 1930, in a simple home in Omaha, Nebraska, a child took his first breath. No one knew it then. But this boy would one day become one of the greatest investors in all of history. At age 6, he was selling bottles of Coca-Cola door to door. At 11, he purchased his first stock, City Service Preferred. At 13, he filed his first tax return and claimed deductions for his bicycle and watch. That boy was Warren Buffett. The 1929 crash didn't just reshape America, it reshaped the Buffett family. Warren's father, Howard Buffett, worked at a bank. But when the banks collapsed, so did his career. Jobs vanished, savings evaporated, and like millions of others, the Buffetts were forced to start over. Howard refused to break. He studied finance, rebuilt his life as a stockbroker, and later served as a U.S. congressman. Throughout every twist and setback, he remained honest, steady, and strong. To young Warren, his father wasn't just a parent. He was a model of integrity, his first teacher, his quiet guide. While most kids played outside, Warren devoured books about money and markets. While other children dreamed of toys, he dreamed of businesses. Howard saw it, a spark, a curiosity, a fire. One day he took young Warren to Wall Street. Standing before the New York Stock Exchange, Warren didn't just see buildings, he saw destiny. On the train ride home, he whispered to himself, "Someday, I'll be part of that world." Soon after returning home, he convinced his father to help him buy 3 shares of City Service Preferred. 2 for him, 1 for his sister. He bought at $38. The price dropped to $27. Fear gripped him, but he held on. When the price climbed back to $40, he sold, relieved. But the stock didn't stop climbing. It soared to $200. This was Buffett's first major lesson: patience pays. Win big by letting winners run. Warren wasn't just studying money, he was earning it. He sold gum and Coca-Cola bottles. He delivered newspapers every morning before sunrise. He set up pinball machines in barber shops and collected quarters like a tiny businessman. By 15, he had saved over $2,000, a small fortune in the 1940s. He invested it into Nebraska farmland, becoming a teenage landlord. At 16, he entered the University of Pennsylvania. But it didn't feel right. He transferred back to Nebraska and finished his degree by 19. He applied to Harvard. They rejected him, too young. That rejection crushed him, but it redirected him. He enrolled at Columbia Business School to study under the man he admired most, Benjamin Graham, the father of value investing. There, he learned the principle that would define his entire life: buy wonderful businesses for less than their worth. After graduation, Buffett had one dream: to work for Graham. At first, Graham said no. Warren returned to Omaha. He waited. Then the phone rang. In 1954, at age 23, Warren joined the Graham-Newman Corporation in New York. 2 years later, Graham retired. Warren went home, carrying lessons he would use forever. Back in Omaha, Warren joined his father's brokerage, but he felt restless. Advising wasn't enough. He wanted to build. In 1956, with only $15,000 from friends and family, and $100 of his own money, he created Buffett Partnership Limited. His promise was simple: if I don't make you money, I don't get paid. No fancy offices, no big risks, just a young man, a calculator, and relentless focus. One of his early investments, a failing textile company called Berkshire Hathaway. Everyone else saw a dying factory. Warren saw an opportunity, a vessel to buy better businesses. He took control, not to save textiles, but to transform Berkshire into a machine that could acquire insurance companies, banks, railroads, and more. Slowly and steadily, Berkshire Hathaway became one of the most valuable companies on earth. In 1952, Warren married Susan Thompson. They raised 3 children together. Susan later moved away to pursue her own path, but their bond never broke. She introduced Warren to Astrid Menks, who became Warren's partner and later his wife. When Susan passed in 2004, Warren was devastated. She was his emotional anchor, the voice who encouraged him in silence. As Berkshire grew, so did Warren's fame. But he didn't change. He still lived in the same Omaha home he bought in 1958. He ate simple breakfasts. He drank his favorite soft drinks. He drove himself everywhere. To the world, he became the Oracle of Omaha. To his friends, he remained simply Warren. He admitted mistakes publicly, like missing Google and Amazon, often with humor. Then came his biggest surprise. Warren pledged to give away over 99% of his fortune to charity. He joined Bill and Melinda Gates to create the Giving Pledge, urging billionaires to donate their wealth to improve the world. Buffett didn't rise during peaceful times. He rose in storms. When fear consumed markets, Warren stepped forward. In the 1973 oil crisis, he invested in the Washington Post. In the 2008 financial crisis, he invested $5 billion in Goldman Sachs while Wall Street trembled. His philosophy became legendary. Be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful. He trusted logic over panic, value over noise, discipline over emotion. He never chased trends, never sought fame, never built rockets or viral moments. But he built something far deeper: trust, wisdom, legacy. He showed the world that success doesn't require ruthlessness, only patience, clarity, and integrity. Even in his 90s, Warren Buffett continues to read, learn, think, and teach. Not with shouting, but with wisdom. He remains Warren Buffett, the Oracle of Omaha, a giant not just in wealth, but in character. If this story inspired you, tap like, share, and subscribe. And explore our channel for more powerful journeys from the world's most extraordinary minds.